Office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
A historic shakeup on Capitol Hill. Kevin McCarthy out as House Speaker. And this all comes just days after McCarthy reached across the aisle, working with Democrats to keep the government from shutting down.
Doing the right thing isn't always easy, but it is necessary. I don't regret standing up for choosing governance over grievance. It is my responsibility. It is my job. I do not regret negotiating. Our government is designed to find compromise. I don't regret my efforts to build coalitions and find solutions. I was raised to solve problems, not create them.
So this is the first time in U.S. history that a Speaker of the House has been voted out, and what happens now as far as a successor goes is still unclear. Isaac
Hale is back with us tonight. He's a politics professor for Occidental College. So people are now wondering whether the Republicans in Congress are just too fractured for anyone to manage.
I mean, that's a live question. Viewers may remember that it took 15 ballots to elect Kevin McCarthy Speaker in January, and it may take a similar feat to elect the next Speaker of the House.
Let's talk a little bit about the person who headed up this ouster, Matt Gaetz from Florida, congressman. Well, first of all, let's bring up one of our local congressmen here from Oroville, Doug LaMalfa, calls him a self-promoter. So, I mean, what is the end game here for Gaetz? I mean, what does he get?
Well, Kevin McCarthy claims it's personal, and Matt Gaetz has been under ethics investigations, and former Speaker McCarthy declined to intervene. So it may in some regards be personal, but there's also an ideological disagreement. We saw this with Gaetz and other hard-right members of the Republican caucus back in that January fight. Many of them backed Andy Biggs for Speaker and are dissatisfied with the way that Kevin McCarthy has been running the House of Representatives.
So we've got these, infighting, sects here within the Republican Party, but at the end of the day, there's really important work to be done on behalf of our nation, and the upcoming budget vote comes to mind. There's going to be incredible pressure here on the next speaker.
Absolutely, and it's very unclear that the next speaker can satisfy the hard-right flank of the Republican caucus that ousted McCarthy today in a way that McCarthy was unable to. There's, frankly, a lot of important work to be done, as you said. The continuing resolution that was passed recently to keep the government open is going to expire in less than 2 months. So there's a lot going on here, and it's not clear that that anyone is going to be able to unify the Republican caucus to keep things going.
Yeah, that CR's got about 42 days left. So, I mean, I know you're not a genie, you don't have a crystal ball there, but what do you think is going to happen as far as how soon till we see a speaker, and how will all that unfold?
Well, we've heard that the House is not holding any additional votes this week, so I would expect that next week we are going to see candidates coming forward and probably actively campaigning for the speakership, and maybe some votes happening next week. The favorite is Steve Scalise, Kevin McCarthy's top lieutenant in the House of Representatives. A representative from the state of Louisiana, very conservative, probably to the right of Kevin McCarthy, once called himself David Duke without the baggage. And he is probably in the pole position to become the next speaker, but it's going to be a really tricky ordeal to unite both the far right of the Republican caucus, people like Andy Biggs or Matt Gaetz, as well as the more moderate members of the caucus representing swing districts.
Absolutely. All right. Professor Hale, we really appreciate your analysis as best as you're able to as we're watching all this unfold.
Thank you for having me.